On News Hour tonight, small businesses in Kano protest ongoing power outages as operations grind to a halt. Experts raise concerns over Nigeria's low childhood immunization rate. Abuja returns to life after long Easter break. And on the foreign scene, Burkina Faso thwarts major coup attempt, claims plot was coordinated from Ivory Coast. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Good evening. In Nigeria's northwestern state of Kano, severe electricity shortage is taking a toll on small businesses and daily life. From welding shops to water vendors, the impact is being felt across the state as some residents have not had power supply for close to 2 weeks. The report.
In the heart of Kano State, small businesses that rely on power supply are facing an uphill battle staying afloat. From higher costs of living to loss of livelihoods, the effect of low power supply continues to weigh down on many. Some, like Muhammad Awalu, who operates a welding shop behind Trade Fair Complex, has shut down operations, while others have drastically reduced operations, all due to the ongoing electricity shortage.
It's
been 3 weeks since we had public electricity supply, so our operations have stopped because I can't afford a generator. We need a solution to this problem. We usually have power for just 2 to 3 hours a day, and then it will be interrupted. After that, they will restore it from time to time. We have not had electricity for some days. Even cold water to drink we can't get, let alone using it to work. If we had electricity, there won't be any need for a generator. Also, since the level of patronage is low, it can't sustain operations using fuel. We feel that if there is stable power supply, more people will be gainfully employed in ventures such as our business, wherein we engage a number of apprentices. In fact, if we have steady power, we could have engaged more. In response to these growing concerns, the head of corporate communications for the Kano Electricity Distribution Company, Sani Balasani, said the poor supply is due to ongoing network upgrades on critical infrastructure. Despite these assurances, many residents remain frustrated, especially those on the supposedly prioritized Band A feeders who also report days without power supply.
I can say it's all right, but the only problem is sometimes they used to off it. Most of the time in the night, we don't want the supply in the morning, in the afternoon, because the afternoon supply is not feasible to our business. We will normally let it from 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning. We like that.
As Kano State continues to grapple with electricity challenges, residents and small business owners are left hoping for a speedy restoration of power. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
In a country where over 2.2 million children remain completely unvaccinated and only 35.6% of children aged 12 to 23 months receive full immunization, Nigeria's struggles with vaccines access is far from over. Despite efforts by health authorities, regional disparities, weak infrastructure and community distrust continues to leave millions of children behind. Against this backdrop, the African Vaccination Week returning this April brings renewed attention to the urgent need for equitable, consistent and nationwide immunization efforts. Lillian Ogazi reports.
With over 8 million births each year, immunization remains one of Nigeria's most critical public health tools. Yet, the challenge is staggering. Nigeria accounts for 2.2 million of the 4.4 million zero-dose children in West Africa, the highest number globally. According to recent data, just 35.6% of Nigerian children aged 12 to 23 months are fully vaccinated. This national average hides a deeper issue, sharp disparity in coverage across regions. But amid the concerning numbers, there are bright spots. The World Health Organization reports that Nasarawa State is the only state among Nigeria's 36 and the FCT that has consistently implemented integrated supplemental immunization as scheduled.
We have, yes, challenges, and this is something we also need to recognize and look for solutions, because problems, just reminding of problems makes no sense if we don't look how to overcome them. So we have to remember that 1/3 of the infants under 1 year old do not have access to immunization, and this is what we call as the zero-dose children. Those children are the most left behind for many reasons. One of the reasons is vaccine hesitancy, the lack of access to services. In some regions, we have this huge challenge of insecurity, some logistics hurdles to reach remote communities, and among others.
As African Vaccination Week 2025 unfolds from April 24th to 30th, the theme, Immunization for All is Humanly Possible, underscores a shared responsibility to ensure that geography or circumstance doesn't undermine access to life-saving vaccines.
We have identified 540,000 settlements in the priority areas and 926,000 under 5 children that were enumerated and tracked. And as a test of this, during the last polio campaign, 92% of these children were again identified and vaccinated. Because we knew who they were, the vaccination teams were armed with the information on who they are, where they live, and 92% of them are reached. We are deploying the same strategy to attend to other health campaigns and eventually even to our routine immunization outreaches, so that we start to routinize that going forward. Our vision is to leave no child unimmunized.
Nigeria's vaccination journey is a tale of contrast of significant gaps, yet undeniable potential. As the country marks African Vaccination Week, stakeholders say the message is clear. With coordination, commitment, and community trust, universal immunization is not just a goal. It's within reach. Lilian Ogazi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The long Easter holiday has come to a close, and across the federal capital city, life is slowly returning to its familiar pace. Trust TV's Abubakar Abdullahi Galadima reports on the gradual return to normalcy.
After days of rest and celebration, the first signs of the city coming back to life are beginning to show. Some workers and business owners resume operation today, while others are holding on to the last hour of the holiday spirit. But for many Nigerians, this Tuesday isn't just another day. It is a return to hustle that sustain their livelihoods.
I'm a serious person, and where you work, that's where you eat. So them today, some of them, they are looking for me now, so I need to attend to them. From Kaduna to Abuja, I think I paid 7,000, but now they are just saying maybe 9,000. Depends, I don't know yet.
I choose to come back to work because it's very important for me to come back, because if you stay back at home, what can you feel? You don't have, so work is very important for you to come back and work, for you to get what you fit. If you stay back, it's very, very bad. It's better for you to resume to work than for you to stay back.
I have to go and earn for my living. I really need the money, so if I do not work, I can't get the money.
At motor parks and train stations, the post-holiday rush is in full swing. Passengers are pouring in, eager to return from their hometowns and holiday destinations. Transport workers say it is the busiest they have seen in days.
The situation of the park right now is, as you can see, everybody is busy trying to go back home. Some are trying so that they can go back, so that they resume their work. You see, the same way we just came in from Kaduna, it's the same thing. People are pumping in so that they could resume their job. Compared with yesterday, it is still the same thing, because today and today, yesterday with today, there is no difference. If you observe very well, the same way, and the vehicles are not even enough for people.
So a few days ago, we are not like this, but they finish Easter now, things are moving well. That's why all of us are here. As a day before yesterday, there was transfer fee, but as today now, we bring the money back to the normal amount at 8,000, yes. So before it was 10,000, but now they brought the money down to 8,000.
As the holiday fades into memory, the focus shifts once more to work, routine, and economic survival. Whether it is by road or rail, the journey back isn't just about distance. It is about joining daily grind as another work week begins. Abubakar Abdullahi Galadima, Cross TV News, Abuja.
A herder, Hamza Suleiman, has been reportedly killed after gunmen opened fire on grazing animals around Shin community of Jos South local government area of Plateau State. The state chairman of the Gang Allah Fulani Development Association, GAFDAN, and the chairman coalition of Fulani registered organization, Garba Abdullahi, who confirmed the incident on Tuesday, said 3 cattle and sheep were also shot dead during the incident. The chairman said the incident occurred at about 12:30 p.m. on Monday when the deceased and other herders were grazing their cattle. Ado Musa completes the report.
The corpse of the herder was recovered by personnel of Operation Safe Haven and the police, as well as members of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. According to relatives of the victim, security personnel, after recovering the victim's body, escorted others to that Inkwa burial ground, where they held a funeral prayer for the late Hamza on Tuesday evening. One of the surviving herders, while narrating how the incident occurred, said he was lucky to escape. Yesterday, while we were grazing, gunmen stormed the area and started shooting sporadically. We started running for our lives. Hamza was unlucky as they caught him and killed him. They killed some of the cattle, while others are still missing. Just like that, they started shooting without any provocation. According to eyewitnesses, the attackers came in large numbers, wielding dangerous weapons. They pursued him until they caught and killed him. We have left everything in the hands of security agencies. It is their job. We want them to investigate those behind this dastardly act and bring them to justice. We are here to search for the corpse of the deceased, and luckily it has been recovered with the assistance of security personnel. What is happening is indeed unfortunate. We call on security agencies and community leaders to rise to the occasion and end this barbaric act. If things continue to happen without action being taken, people will continue to perpetrate crimes. The state chairman of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MAGBAN, and Gan Allah Fulani Development Association, GAFDAN, Ibrahim Yusuf Babu and Garba Abdullahi, called on security agencies to investigate the matter and bring the perpetrators to justice. The leaders also urged their members to remain calm and not take laws into their hands, adding that they are trusting security agencies to take the action. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Still in Jos, at least 26 cattle were reportedly poisoned around INEC office in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. The secretary of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MAGBAN, in Mangu, Musa Muhammad, told journalists that the incident occurred around 1:30 p.m. when over 950 cattle were grazing in the area. According to the MAGBAN secretary, all security heads in the local government area, including the commander of Sector 3, the DPO, and the OC-DSS office in Mangu, were informed and visited the scene. MAGBAN accused the Magavul youths of poisoning the cattle, an accusation the group denied. The secretary, however, said the heads of security agencies who visited the area called on them to remain patient and assured that the measures will be taken to investigate the situation. The spokesman of Magavul Youth Movement, Satmak Bala, when contacted about the accusation against them, denied the allegation and called on the public to dismiss it. The Kwara State Governor, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, has visited the Emir of Kayama over the recent attacks and killings of 7 indigents in the community by suspected bandits. The governor, who was accompanied by heads of security agencies in the state, assured residents of the government's readiness with the support of security agencies to flush out bandits in the area. The report.
The sleepy town of Kayama few days witnessed an attack from some bandits who were said to have relocated from Kebbi State to the National Kianji Park in Kayama. Following the attack, the Kwara State Governor, accompanied by the heads of security agencies, is here to pay a condolence visit to the Emir of Kayama in his palace over the unfortunate death of an unspecified number of members of vigilante groups. The Emir, who was emotional over the death, said the relocation of the bandits to the park occurred 5 years ago, adding that dislodgement few months ago by the military could be said to have led to the present reprisal attack on the vigilantes.
Countless, more than 15 things started gradually when they intercept and all the rest, but we have been keeping the people since 2015 or 16. All this thing will not be over. It's because of the effort of the government, and that's what led to the deployment of the soldiers here. Formerly they were not here, but after the Nipu spent, they were brought here, and that's how we were able to maintain some peace and relative understanding.
The general officer commanding 2 Division Ibadan assured of the readiness of the army to flush out the bandits in the next few days. He said they got wind of the presence of the bandits recently and have been given the necessary approval to do a quick assessment of the situation at the park and ensure that the park is safe.
So I will not go further, but just to reassure you that we shall be here for you. We shall be here to ensure we protect the people of Kemanji, the people of Kayama, and all other areas around here. All I'll ask, Your Royal Highness, is that the people of Baruten, the people of Borgu, should press up for us as we come, and also send message, because our assessment is that a lot of locals know these people. They are not strangers. They come around.
The state governor, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, assured of the readiness of the federal government to ensure that parks across the country are safe. The reclaiming of the Kianji Park in Kayama is said will be done soon by the military through major operations.
We have to engage our citizens. The military is doing a yeoman's job. This is not their primary duty. They're not cut out for internal security matter, but we're dragging them into internal security matter. And they're doing it diligently. And you see members of the public criticizing them as if they're not doing anything. We sleep in our homes at night every day. They're in the field every day.
The attacks on Kayama in Barutan community still continue, as another attack was said to have rocked the community on Monday night. However, residents are hopeful that the military will take proactive measures to flush out the bandits in the 2 local governments.
Communities across Zamfara State are paying huge sums to armed bandits to avoid attacks, with extorted levies since January 2025 exceeding 500 million. The payments are demanded under threats of violence, abduction, or death, forcing residents into financial ruin while offering no guarantee of safety. In several areas, including Safi and Maru local governments, bandits have imposed repeated levies ranging from 2.7 million to 30 million per village. Some communities have also been forced to provide food and other resources. Despite meeting demands, many villages still face kidnappings and displacement as attacks continue. While authorities claim to be strengthening response efforts by deploying joint security teams and community protection guards, however, with ongoing attacks and growing displacements, residents say they feel abandoned and overwhelmed by the crisis. The Niger State Governor Umar Muhammad Bago has imposed 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew in Minna, the state capital, in response to the recent wave of attacks and killings across the city. According to the governor, commercial motorcycles and tricycle operations is now restricted from 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Bagu made the announcement during a critical stakeholders security meeting with traditional rulers and heads of security agencies at the government house on Tuesday. He stated that except for medical emergencies, the new measures are aimed at curbing the growing security challenges in the state's capital.
Any Angua or Dakachi or Hakimi within the Mina Emirates must know who and who is in their domain. Security is everybody's business. I don't want to hear any news about that. Nobody is above the law. And the primary responsibility of government is to provide for the security and life of the citizens. I will lead the operation. I will follow each street of Mina, will fish them out, and we are going to make sure we deal with them accordingly. So zero tolerance to rascality in Mina. Anybody that you find with dreadlock, arrest him, barb his hair, and find him. Nobody should carry any kind of health court again inside Mina. I have given you marching order.
This is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Rising transport, food and rent costs strain Lagos households. This and more when we return. Do stay. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. In case you missed it, here's a recap of our top stories again. Small businesses in Kano protest ongoing power outages as operations grind to halt. An expert raised concern over Nigeria's low childhood immunization rate. Moving on to more stories. The Kano State Hisba Board has issued a public warning against visiting a water-filled depression behind the Yankaba Motor Park, which has recently drawn crowds following a false claim that it contains the footprint of the Prophet. In a statement, the board debunked the claim, labeling it as deliberate act of deception. Deputy Commander Dr. Mujahid Aminuddin described the narrative as a fabricated fraud and urged residents to stop promoting the site. He raised concern over the increasing number of visitors, including children, some of whom were seen drinking from the stagnant water, potentially putting themselves at serious health risks. The board called on parents to protect their children and advised the public to refrain from visiting or consuming anything from the site, stressing the need for caution. Authorities in Gombe State have launched an investigation into a deadly trailer crash that turned an Easter procession into a scene of horror along Gombe-Yola Federal Highway in Biliri local government area. The incident, which occurred on Easter Monday, claimed the lives of 5 worshippers and left several others injured after a trailer loaded with goods plunged into a crowd of celebrants. Governor Inuwa Yahaya has directed a full-scale probe into the circumstances surrounding the crash, describing the tragedy as deeply disturbing. Witnesses say the chaos escalated after the collision, which enraged residents, setting the trailer ablaze and demanding the release of the arrested driver from police custody. The protests spiraled into violence as clash erupted between demonstrators and security forces. Shops were looted and motorcycles were stolen amid unrest and engulfed Biliri. The police have since restored order in the affected areas. Governor Yahaya assured the public that the investigation would be thorough, not only to determine what caused the crash, but also to understand and address the violent fallout. Following a viral video highlighting an 11-year-old girl who survived a brutal sexual assault, which sparked a wave of empathy in Dutse, the Jigawa state capital, hell has come the way of the victim through the intervention of the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. In the aftermath of the incident, the First Lady, alongside Jigawa State Governor's wife, offered a financial lifeline to Khadija Isa from Galama community, which has given her a new lease of life. The report.
The intervention by Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and the First Lady of Jigawa State, Hadiza Umar Namadi, ensured that Khadija got the needed financial and emotional support to enable her to navigate the incident and start life afresh. With the support of the First Lady, Khadija and her family were able to secure a new fully furnished 3-bedroom apartment. The provision of water and electricity marks a significant improvement in the living conditions for Khadija, her mother, and her 6 siblings. Khadija's ordeal began with a devastating sexual assault perpetrated by a 22-year-old man who is currently facing justice in a Dutse magistrate court.
I lost my husband years ago, and then this horrible incident happened to my daughter. Life has not been easy all these years, but now both the federal and state governments have come to our aid. We are very grateful.
She is an orphan, and she has been molested several times with no support from her family, from her immediate community. So immediately when I saw her case in that viral video, I decided to step in, and the culprit has already been charged to court to serve as a lesson to others.
Despite the trauma she has faced, the future now appears brighter for Khadija, a testament to the profound impact of the First Lady's support. Prayers of gratitude were offered for Senator Tinubu and for the family embarking on this new chapter.
Continues to struggle with its economic challenges. Lagos residents say they are left with no choice but to bear the burden of soaring living expenses from transport, food to rent and other essentials. While some have gotten used to the harsh realities, others are calling on the government to urgently intervene and relieve them from the growing burden. The report.
With rising transportation costs and skyrocketing food prices, survival has become a daily battle. Our day's success, a student shared her experience of navigating these economic difficulties.
Transportation alone, when I am going to school, before I use about 2K to go to school every weekend. But now, if I don't have up to 3-5, I can't. Yesterday I was coming from school at Oshodi. The price to Agege was 500, but I could not get bus. It was 700, so I had to enter.
Alami Mubarak, a Lagos resident, described the current situation as increasingly difficult and unsustainable for the average Nigerian.
I don't know why, especially in this country, things actually tend to be expensive than normal periods, so which has turned to a normal thing in the country. But maybe any celebration like this, things will actually rise. The cost of living will be more tougher than how it is normal. So we just have to keep praying to God to make everything easy for us in the country. That's just it.
That cost, but still, I don't mind because this is Nigeria. Every day by day, things get cost. Before even the festive period, things has been cost already. So you understand, the economy have been bad already. So you understand. You know, you are living in a country that is 70% poverty. You understand? So I'm used to everything that is happening. It's not a new thing for me. From birth till now, I'm used to it. So I'm not kind of people that do complain, the economy is bad, it's affecting. No, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the economy. I'm okay with what I'm facing. Yeah.
As the cost of living continues to rise across Lagos, residents remain hopeful that the federal government will implement necessary measures to bring relief.
The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, on Tuesday rebuked the commanders of police mobile force over what he described as inappropriate deployment of officers attached to the unit. Egbetokun also ordered that henceforth officers attached to the unit will not be attached to any very important personality, IVPs, in the society again, saying the mission of establishing the unit is already derailed. The IGP spoke at the force headquarters Abuja during an emergency meeting he had with the commanders on the heels of an outrage that trailed how a Chinese national in a viral video publicly sharing money to the officers. He had earlier summoned the mobile police officers involved in what Nigerians described as shameful to the force, and they were said to have been sanctioned accordingly. The unit MOPO was established as the strike arm of the Nigeria Police Force, an elite tactical unit created to respond rapidly and decisively to riot, emergencies, and internal crises. The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency has outlined the criteria for accessing the federal government's free cesarean section initiative at primary healthcare centers nationwide. The announcement comes against the backdrop of Nigeria's persistent maternal health crisis, where thousands of women, especially in rural areas, face life-threatening barriers to safe childbirth due to poverty, lack of skilled personnel, and inadequate medical infrastructure. Speaking to newsmen, the ED CEO of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Muyi Aina, reaffirmed the government's commitment to bridging these critical gaps, saying the free cesarean intervention aims to drastically reduce maternal and infant mortality rates and ensure that no woman is left behind due to cost or location. Recall that on November 7, 2024, the federal government, through the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, announced the rollout of free cesarean section for pregnant women across the country.
The free cesarean section program of the federal government does, in fact, have a number of parameters around it. Understanding that if you don't do things carefully, it can backfire. So, it's one thing to have access to free cesarean sections, it's another thing to have access to quality free cesarean sections. So the people that are eligible are you need emergency cesarean section, and you access it at NHIA accredited CMONC facilities. What that means is that everybody can take a knife and say they want to do cesarean sections. We want to discourage that. There's no point just using money to incentivize people to do unnecessary cesarean sections or do it in a way that is dangerous to the people. So there is a criteria which facilities have to meet, and who can tell me how many facilities are currently accredited? About 200 and something, as at when I was last aware, across the country. Sorry?
100 and something, 200 are currently being...
Yeah, okay, so almost 200 currently accredited, and that 200 are being assessed for that. So that is that's the path that this is going to go. And it's also for people, again, what the minister and the president are trying to address here is a situation where someone quite in a way that they didn't anticipate requires cesarean section, and they have to be turned down or turned back because they can't pay, is to remove that. But if you have 9 months notice and you know that you are going to need cesarean section, that's not an emergency cesarean section, for example. So there are a few criteria that are being used to make people eligible for it.
Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum assured that the state government will rehabilitate water pipelines damaged by September floods. The damage has led to frequent water shortage in the Maiduguri metropolis. Governor Zulum disclosed this during the flag off of the construction of Teshan Kano dual carriage road and post office flyover in Maiduguri. Our reporter Beatrice Kuruti has more.
The governor first flagged off the 7.1-kilometer terminus junction along Tashan Kano to Mulai Road. The project, according to the governor, will ease traffic congestion and, more importantly, boost economic growth. He revealed that 50% of the contract, which is worth 10 billion naira, has been disbursed, with work expected to be completed in 10 months.
From Borno injection to Melai, and also to construct additional bridge downstream of the road in order to enhance pre-vehicular movement. Inshallah, this project will be completed in how many months?
8 months.
We hope that the project will be completed on or before 8 months, inshallah.
Excellency, from here to where the bridge will be constructed is about 2.6 kilometers, and along the line, the dualization consists of drainages, median, street light, and water pool. And Your Excellency, the width of the road is going to be 6 meters when dualized. This will now expand the road and give room for free movement of transport, Your Excellency. And Your Excellency, I will assure you that this ministry, the Ministry of Works, will do everything possible to supervise the project to compliance, to complete for compliance according to specification and design.
The state government also launched the construction of Maiduguri's fourth flyover at the popular post office access, worth 16 billion naira, and charged contractors to comply with the quality specifications and timely completion. Governor Zulum says he plans to execute more projects such as hospitals, markets, international hotel, among others, before the expiration of his administration. He pledged to address water shortage in the metropolis caused by the September floods.
But after extensive consultations, we resolved that constructing a flyover here is necessary in order to reduce vehicular traffic. And then we also have taken note that in the near future, in the next 2-3 years, Maiduguri will be more densely populated. So the construct is awarded at a total sum of about 16 billion. And I want to inform the general public that so far so good, about 50%, about 8 billion has been paid to the contractors.
Your Excellency, this flyover is different, entirely different from the previous one that we have constructed. This flyover is 9-span bridge and is longer in terms of length, Your Excellency. As you can see, it has many fires, about 16 fires. So this stands out a very good engineering masterpiece that will change the narrative of Maiduguri town.
Governor Zulum concluded his Tuesday's official tour after paying a sympathy visit to Wanori community in Konduga local government over the recent fire outbreak that destroyed homes and claimed lives. Bitrus Koruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
A tragedy incident has thrown the Abakwa community in Kaduna North local government area of Kaduna State into confusion and mourning after a 12-year-old boy was killed by what police described as a suspected den gun. According to residents living in Jasawa Road in the community, a loud bang echoed through the neighborhood around 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday. Though the source of the sound remained unclear initially, residents reported hearing a loud noise. Witness later identified the victim as a 12-year-old boy, Abubakar Muhammad, who was fatally struck just moments after stepping out of his home. Trust TV's Bello Musa was at the community and sent in this report.
When the incident occurred, women, children, and adults all rushed out of their houses in an attempt to find a safe place to hide, as eyewitnesses recount what happened.
I was in the shop when I heard a bang, and then suddenly my neighbor came and told me that they had killed one boy. When I attempted to come out, I couldn't move my leg, but I managed to enter the house. I was bleeding from my legs, so I was rushed to the hospital. I think it happened around 8 in the morning, and I was treated in the hospital here. I was frying when I heard a loud bang. We didn't know where it came from, and there was no smoke or anything like that.
Other members of the community also narrate their ordeal. We were told that it was a gunshot that hit the boy. We can see the gravity of it from this wall and the electric poles. When I came out from the house, I saw a teenager with injuries on his chest and leg. I also saw a boy that was killed in the incident. We counted 78 people that were injured, besides the boy who died. It's a black day for Muhammad Lawal, the father of Abubakar, who was killed by the suspected gunshot. I was on my way back from work when I was called that my boy had been shot dead. He was sent to buy sugar in the neighborhood to take his pub, but he was unfortunately shot. He rushed to the house and reported the incident to his mother. My neighbor rushed him to hospital, but he died on the way. About 7 residents were said to have sustained injuries in the incident. Security agencies led by their heads, including soldiers, DSS and police, visited the community to ascertain the actual cause of the incident. It was gathered that investigations into the incident are already ongoing. The State Police Command, in a statement, clarified the actual cause of the boy's death, saying it was a then gunshot and not an explosion, as reported by some media organizations. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
The Nigerian Customs Service said it's generated 1,751,502,252,298 naira 5 kobo as revenue in the first quarter of 2025, surpassing the amount generated in the first quarter of 2024. The Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale, made this known at a press briefing on the activities of the service in the first quarter of 2025. He also listed exchange rate volatility, that the implementation and subsequent suspension of the Financial Customs Service operation, and the 14% reciprocal tariff imposed on Nigeria exports by the United States of America as some of the challenges faced by customs in the course of delivering on its mandate.
And I'm pleased to report the services revenue collection for the first quarter 2025 totaled 1,502,252,298 naira 5 kobo. Against our annual targets, which is 6.58 trillion, the first quarter's proportional benchmark stood at 1,645 billion naira. I'm therefore proud to announce that we have exceeded this quarter by 106.5 billion naira. On the anti-smuggling and enforcement front, we maintained robust anti-smuggling operations during the first quarter of 2025, recording a total of 298 seizures with a duty paid value of 7,698,557,347 naira 67 kobo. In spite of all of this, we have some challenges. The most important that we still face is the exchange rate volatility, which continue to affect trade patterns and customs valuation. We also faced uncertainty regarding the 14% reciprocal tariff imposed on Nigerian exports by the United States of America. This development has potential implications for our export trade, and it requires strategic, diplomatic, and policy responses. I can assure you that on both fronts, efforts are ongoing to have engagement with authorities of the United States.
Business, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has downgraded its economic growth forecast for Nigeria in 2025 to 3.0%, citing a decline in global crude oil prices. The revised projection was contained in the IMF's April 25 World Economic Outlook report, released on sidelines of the ongoing spring meeting of the IMF and the World Bank in Washington, D.C. The new forecast represents a 0.2 percentage point reduction from the fund's previous projection of 3.2%. According to the report, for sub-Saharan Africa, growth is expected to decline slightly from 4.0% in 2024 to 3.8% in 2025, before recording modestly to 4.2% in 2026. Gold has reached $3,500 per dollar an ounce for the first time on Tuesday, as U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff and verbal attack against the Federal Reserve sent investors snapping up the safe haven asset. The precious metal reached an all-time high of $3,500.10 an ounce before pulling back to $3,467.8 an ounce. Gold has hit a series of recording highs in recent weeks as investors seek refuge amid the weakening dollar and following sharp losses across stock markets. Gold has recorded more than 30% price appreciation since the start of the year. And now, away from Nigeria, the Economic Community of West Africa's member states will meet in Ghana on Tuesday to discuss the withdrawal of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. The meeting will take place on Tuesday and Wednesday. In a statement issued on Tuesday, the bloc said member states will discuss the modalities of the country's withdrawal and its implication for ECOWAS agencies in the countries. The bloc also said it will set up a structure to facilitate discussion on these modalities with each of the three countries. However, ECOWAS member states will be discussing the relationship with the three countries this Tuesday in Accra. And now in Burkina Faso, military-led government has announced that it successfully thwarted what it described as a major coup plot targeting junta leader Captain Ibrahim Traoré, according to a report by the BBC on Tuesday. Burkina Faso's Security Minister Mamadou Sana disclosed in a televised address on Monday that both active and retired soldiers, allegedly working in coordination with terrorist group, had conspired to storm the presidential palace. The group reportedly planned to execute the attack last week. Sana claimed that the objective was to plunge the country into chaos and install a regime under the control of an international organization. He said the group also attempted to manipulate public sentiment by using religious and traditional leaders to sway military officers into supporting the coup. He further alleged that the mastermind of the plan were operating from Ivory Coast, identifying 2 former army officers believed to be behind the operation. So far, Ivorian authorities have not responded to the accusations. Myanmar's junta on Tuesday prolonged a ceasefire declared after last month's devastating earthquake to April 30 after a group and international mediators called for extension to ease relief efforts. The junta, which seized power in 2021, coup sparking a many-sided civil war, said it will cease attacking its myriad armed opponent following the magnitude 7.7 quake, which has killed more than 3,700. Conflict monitors and residents in combat zones say fighting continued on both sides during the 20-day truce declared to spur aid delivery in Myanmar's central belt, but the military said it will not hesitate to retaliate if other armed groups launch an attack, as it said when it announced the ceasefire. The March 28th earthquake has left more than 60,000 people living in tent encampments and pushed 2 million people into critical need for assistance and protection, according to the United Nations. And now let's join Adeni Ajishafe for more news on sports.
Nigerian women under-18 and under-20 handball teams won their matches at the IHF Women's Trophy Zone 3 Championship in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The under-18 women's team dug deep to end a 36-33 victory over Burkina Faso, while the under-20 team beat Togo with a wide margin of 52-8. The under-18 girls overturned a 3-goal halftime deficit to edge Burkina Faso in a thrilling tie headed into the halftime break. Coach John Uzo's side started the second half in a better form, which saw them outscore Burkina Faso. Nigeria's under-20 women also ran riot with a 52-8 thrashing of Togo as Coach Agbola's tutor side dominated the game from the blast of the whistle till end, dominating the Togolese side with no room to breathe. And in football, the Nationwide League One NLO has carried out an extensive medical checkup which resulted in 44 players unfit to participate in 2025 league season. The NLO uncovered health issues like systemic hypertension and other medical conditions. Of our football club topped the list with 6 players, while Pro FC of FCT Abuja, among others, has 4 players who failed the test. NLO Chief Operating Officer Olushola Ogunowo said the medical checkup is a standard procedure before the start of every season aimed at preserving players' lives and ensuring safety in the game. And lastly, in athletics, Nigerian athletes Favour Ofili, Koinsola Ajayi and Tima Godbless have secured tickets for 2025 World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, Japan. The Louisiana State University sprinter Ofili finished second at the Tom Jones Memorial in Gainesville, Florida, in the women's 200 meters. With a time of 22.34 seconds behind reigning Olympic 100-meter champion Julian Alfred, who clocked 21.88 seconds. Rising star Koinsola Ajayi broke the 10 seconds barrier in the men's 100-meter in Gainesville, clocking a lifetime best of 9.96 seconds to win the event. Koinsola is now the 11th Nigerian man to achieve a sub-10 finish and became the 4th male sprinter from Nigeria to qualify for Tokyo 100-meter sprint classics. Meanwhile, Tima Godbless also booked a ticket to Tokyo, running a personal best of 22.5 seconds, joining Ofili as the second Nigerian woman to qualify for 200-meter event at Japan 2025 Championship. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
With that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch us across all our social media platforms for more news, programs and documentaries. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Do have a good evening.